Hello, welcome to this channel. Today we will learn about one of the most explosive revelations that could potentially shake Salem to its very core, the possibility that Tony DiMera has risen from the dead and is secretly masquerading as his identical brother Tony DiMera. The sinister transformation. Tony DiMera has been exhibiting increasingly disturbing behavior patterns that have left longtime Salem residents scratching their heads in confusion. The suave, sophisticated gentleman who once charmed the town with his European elegance has gradually morphed into someone far more calculating, ruthless, and downright menacing. His mannerisms have shifted, his decision-making has become darker, and his moral compass seems to have vanished entirely. Those who have known Tony for decades are beginning to whisper among themselves, could this really be the same man who returned to Salem earlier this year, or has someone else been wearing his face all along? The transformation didn't happen overnight, which makes it all the more chilling. It's been a gradual descent into shadowy territory that has Salem's most observant citizens raising eyebrows and questioning everything they thought they knew about the DiMera patriarch. The Tony DiMera everyone remembers would never engage in the kind of schemes that this version has been orchestrating behind closed doors. Something fundamental has changed, and the implications are absolutely terrifying for everyone involved. EJ's dangerous hospital conspiracy. The situation becomes even more sinister when examining Tony's central role in EJ DiMera's shadowy hospital takeover scheme. EJ successfully acquired control of Salem University Hospital through a combination of strategic maneuvering and suspicious financing. On the surface, EJ has established a free clinic that appears to serve the community's most vulnerable populations. However, this charitable facade is nothing more than an elaborate smokescreen designed to distract attention from the truly disturbing activities taking place in the hospital's hidden research facilities. Behind the scenes, EJ is conducting experiments that push the boundaries of medical ethics and possibly venture into illegal territory. The hospital's underground laboratories have become a hub for controversial research that no legitimate medical institution would ever sanction. Tony has become an integral player in this conspiracy, helping EJ coordinate the covert operations while maintaining the public illusion that everything is above board. His enthusiasm for these morally questionable endeavors is completely inconsistent with the Tony DiMera that Salem thought it knew. The Stefano Resurrection Project. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of this entire conspiracy involves the ultimate goal of EJ and Tony's collaboration, bringing Stefano DiMera back from the dead. The legendary DiMera patriarch has been deceased for years, but the DiMera family has never been one to let death stand in the way of their ambitions. Through the hospital's secret research facilities, they're working on methods to resurrect Stefano in some form, whether through advanced medical procedures, genetic manipulation, or the infamous Dr. Rolf's resurrection serum. Tony seems positively gleeful about the chaos that Stefano's return would unleash upon Salem. He's been observed discussing the project with an almost manic enthusiasm that's completely out of character for the typically composed Tony DiMera. This eagerness to create mayhem and destruction aligns far more closely with Andre's historical personality. Andre always loved watching Salem burn while the DiMeras manipulated events from the shadows. The real Tony would have reservations about such a dangerous undertaking, but this version shows no hesitation whatsoever. The Andre theory emerges. All of these alarming behavioral changes have sparked a theory that's gaining traction among Salem's more perceptive residents. What if Tony isn't actually Tony at all? What if the man walking around Salem, making these sinister deals and plotting these dark schemes, is actually Tony DiMera, somehow resurrected and wearing his brother's identity like a perfectly tailored suit? The idea sounds outrageous on the surface, but this is Salem, where death is rarely permanent and the DiMera family has mastered the art of deception. Andre and Tony are identical in appearance thanks to plastic surgery Andre underwent decades ago to look exactly like his brother. This physical similarity has been exploited multiple times throughout Salem's history for various schemes and manipulations. Andre died under mysterious circumstances, but with Dr. Rolf's resurrection capabilities and the resources available through EJ's hospital takeover, bringing Andre back from the grave would be entirely within the realm of possibility. Perhaps Andre's resurrection was the test run for the larger Stefano project. EJ's potential knowledge. If Andre truly has replaced Tony, the most disturbing question becomes, does EJ know about the switch? Given EJ's meticulous nature and his need to control every aspect of his operations, it seems unlikely that Andre could have infiltrated the family without EJ's awareness. In fact, EJ and Andre working together in secret makes perfect strategic sense from a DiMera perspective. Andre brings a ruthlessness and willingness to cross moral boundaries that even EJ sometimes hesitates to embrace. Their collaboration would make EJ's hospital conspiracy infinitely more dangerous and unpredictable. The two men could have formed an alliance before Andre revealed himself to anyone else in Salem. EJ might have orchestrated Andre's resurrection specifically to have a partner who wouldn't question the ethics of their experiments. Andre has no qualms about breaking laws, hurting innocents, or destroying lives if it serves the DiMera agenda. For EJ's purposes, Andre would actually be a more useful ally than Tony, whose conscience occasionally interferes with DiMera business. This partnership could explain why Tony has been so enthusiastically supporting schemes that should horrify him. The unsuspecting family members. While EJ might be in on the secret, other key Salem residents remain completely oblivious to the potential deception unfolding before their eyes. Chad DiMera has been interacting with Tony without any apparent suspicion that he might be dealing with Andre instead. Chad, who has always tried to steer the DiMera family toward more legitimate business practices, has no idea he might be taking advice and direction from Salem's most dangerous con artist. The implications for Chad's own business dealings and moral standing could be catastrophic if he's been unknowingly collaborating with Andre. Theo Carver recently returned to Salem at Tony's request and has been spending considerable time with the man he believes to be his family friend. Theo's trust in Tony could be exploited in devastating ways if Andre is the one actually pulling the strings. Theo has already been manipulated by the DiMeras in the past, and discovering he's been deceived again could cause psychological damage and destroy his faith in people he thought he could trust. His involvement in whatever schemes Tony has planned could permanently damage his reputation and relationships in Salem. Anna's potential heartbreak. Perhaps no one stands to be more devastated by an Andre reveal than Irna DiMera, Tony's beloved wife. Anna has been completely devoted to Tony throughout their tumultuous relationship history, standing by him through countless DiMera family crises. She believes she's been living with, talking to, and sharing intimate moments with her husband. The psychological trauma of discovering that she's actually been with Andre, the man who once terrorized Salem and caused so much pain, would be absolutely crushing for her. Anna would have to confront the horrifying reality that every conversation, every moment of affection, every private interaction has been with an imposter. She would question every memory, second-guess every decision, and wonder how she could have been so thoroughly deceived. The violation of trust would be nearly impossible to overcome. Beyond the personal betrayal, Anna would also have to grapple with the question of what happened to the real Tony. Is he being held captive somewhere, or has something even worse occurred? The not knowing might be even worse than the deception itself. Strategic implications for the Kyriakis family. While the DiMeras deal with their internal deceptions, their rivals the Kyriakis family might see this situation as a golden opportunity. The ongoing war between Titan and DiMera Enterprises has been escalating, with both sides seeking any advantage they can find. If the Kyriakis clan uncovers the truth about Tony's real identity before anyone else, they would possess incredibly powerful blackmail material. Proof that the DiMeras have been using a resurrected Andre to conduct illegal activities could destroy the family's business empire and land multiple family members in prison. Xander Cook and Philip Kyriakis have been desperately seeking leverage against EJ after losing the hospital acquisition battle. Information about Andre's resurrection and impersonation scheme would give them exactly the ammunition they need to turn the tables. They could expose the fraud publicly, demand regulatory investigations into the hospital's activities, and potentially force the DiMeras to surrender control of key assets to avoid prosecution. The strategic value of this information is almost incalculable in Salem's cutthroat business environment. The mounting evidence. The signs that something is fundamentally wrong with Tony continue to accumulate with each passing day. His speech patterns have subtly shifted, incorporating phrases and expressions that sound more like Andre than Tony. His knowledge of family history sometimes includes details that Tony shouldn't know but Andre would. His relationships with other family members have changed in indefinable but noticeable ways. These small inconsistencies might seem insignificant individually, but together they paint a picture of someone who's playing a role rather than living authentically. Most tellingly, Tony's reactions to mentions of Andre have been peculiar. Instead of the mixture of sadness and frustration that Tony typically displayed when discussing his troubled brother, this version shows something else entirely, perhaps a flicker of satisfaction, or a carefully controlled response that seems rehearsed. People who know how to read micro-expressions and body language have noticed these subtle tells, even if they haven't yet articulated what they mean. The inevitable revelation. Salem history teaches us that no secret stays buried forever, and the truth about Tony's identity will eventually explode into the open. When that revelation comes, it will send shockwaves through every family in town. The DiMera family will fracture under the weight of yet another betrayal. Relationships will shatter as people realize they've been manipulated and deceived. Legal consequences will follow as authorities investigate the full scope of the conspiracy. The question isn't whether the truth will emerge, but rather when and how. Will Anna make a discovery that exposes the deception? Will one of Andre's old enemies recognize behavioral patterns that give him away? Will a slip of the tongue or an unguarded moment reveal the truth? Or will EJ's hospital scheme collapse, bringing down the entire house of cards with it? However it happens, Salem should brace itself for the chaos that will follow. The DiMera family has orchestrated many schemes over the years, but this potential Andre resurrection and identity swap might be the most audacious and dangerous plot they've ever attempted. The stage is set for one of Salem's most explosive revelations in years. Stay tuned to Days of Our Lives as this thrilling mystery continues to unfold and the truth about Tony DiMera's real identity finally comes to light. Next, Days of Our Lives recap. Monday, September 29, 2025, Kat and Chad share a strange snack and a deeper connection. Days of Our Lives has always been a soap opera built on secrets, chance encounters, and unexpected romances. The Monday, September 29, 2025 episode carried on that proud tradition, this time focusing on Kat and Chad, whose growing relationship continues to puzzle, intrigue, and, dare I say, entertain viewers who wonder where exactly this pairing might be heading. The episode began on a somewhat light-hearted note, with Chad and Kat sitting together, playing a simple card game. On the surface, it was nothing more than two people sharing time, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. But as often happens in Salem, what seemed harmless soon became layered with hidden meaning and uncomfortable truths. During their game, a question came up that touched on history, specifically about the Russian Federation in 2012. Without hesitation, Kat provided the correct answer. To most, this might seem ordinary, a quick recall of a historical fact. Yet in Salem, where secrets lie under every smile, this moment was telling. Kat is known to be more than just another resident. Whispers and suspicions have long painted her as a spy, someone who carries a dangerous past into every room she enters. Her easy knowledge about international history raised eyebrows. But Kat quickly brushed it off with a practiced charm. She laughed and claimed that she was nothing more than a boring history buff, someone who once backpacked through Europe and picked up tidbits along the way. It was a clever deflection, and Chad, perhaps wanting to believe her, allowed the subject to drop. After all, Chad himself has no shortage of emotional scars and burdens. Instead of pressing further, he shifted the conversation in a startling direction. He mentioned Clyde, along with his own past tied to plastic surgery and family betrayals. The words tumbled out almost without thought, and the moment he said them, regret filled the air. Bringing up Clyde was like dragging a ghost into the room, and Chad instantly wished he had kept the thought to himself. Still, instead of breaking the mood entirely, the evening turned unexpectedly tender. The setting itself was almost cinematic. On Kat's couch, the room softly lit by the warm glow of burning candles, Chad found himself holding two odd items, some licorice and a jar of peanut butter. In any other story, such a pairing would make little sense. But here, in this moment, it became part of their shared connection. Rather than overthinking or returning to the heavy conversation they had just skirted, Chad leaned in closer. Perhaps it was the intimacy of the candlelight, or perhaps it was the relief of distraction, but soon the two were kissing. The licorice and peanut butter became props in what can only be described as a strange romantic interlude. For many viewers, the idea of mixing Twizzlers with peanut butter might sound more like a recipe for disaster than for passion. The show even seemed to poke fun at itself, suggesting that no one could possibly believe it was fun. And yet, within the world of Salem, even the oddest combinations can carry meaning. Sharing the unusual snack was symbolic. It showed that Kat and Chad were willing to explore the unexpected together, that their bond was strong enough to overlook even the strangest of flavors. From there, the kisses returned, stronger and more insistent than before. The earlier doubts, the suspicions, and even the regretful mention of Clyde seemed to melt away in the glow of the moment. For Chad, it was an escape from the shadows of his past. For Kat, it was another step in weaving herself deeper into the lives of Salem's residents, perhaps hiding in plain sight while also genuinely falling for a man who has known more heartbreak than most. The scene left fans with more questions than answers. Was Kat's quick knowledge about Russian history just an innocent detail, or does it reveal her secret identity more than she intended? Can Chad truly trust her, or is he allowing his loneliness and need for connection to blind him to the warning signs? And perhaps most importantly, can anything that begins with Twizzlers and peanut butter ever be taken seriously? As Days of Our Lives often reminds us, the smallest choices, a word here, a kiss there, or even a peculiar snack, can alter lives forever. Kat and Chad's evening may have begun as a game, but it ended with a promise of deeper entanglement. And in Salem, entanglement rarely leads to peace. More often, it drags everyone involved into storms of passion, betrayal, and heartbreak. For now, though, viewers were treated to a softer, almost playful moment between two people who are both searching for something, perhaps love, perhaps redemption, perhaps escape. But beneath the candles, the licorice, and the laughter, the tension remains. Secrets hover close to the surface, waiting for the right spark to bring them out into the open. And so, as the day closed in Salem, Chad and Kat's story took one more step forward. Whether it leads to joy or to ruin, only time will tell.